All right, this is the Borough Council Workshop and Regular Meeting, June 19th, 2024. Our agenda, we'll start with a roll call or call to order.
President Ferguson.
Here.
Vice President Gerard.
Here.
Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Fagan.
Here.
Councilmember Cresser. Here. Mayor Gerard.
Here.
Junior Councilperson Weeder.
Here.
Borough Manager Snyder. Here. Borough Solicitor Harper.
Here.
All right, now we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I invite Councilmember Fagan to do our invocation.
Thank you. Let us pray. That we gathered here tonight may honestly deliberate in the interest of Hatfield, that council may justly consider all issues before it, that together we govern in the interest of all citizens, and that the people of Hatfield uphold our decisions, offer their support in maintaining the peace and prosperity of the community, and keep us honest to our sacred duties. Together we pray.
Amen. All right.
I'll be right back.
Sorry.
I'll be right back.
Okay, do you want me to hold or wait?
Yes, lead you.
Okay. Okay.
Before we begin tonight's meeting, Borough Council and I and other members of the Borough team would like to recognize the graduation of two of our members.
No, keep it.
First of all, we have our communications coordinator, Lindsay Hellman. Lindsay has graduated from Montgomery County Community College with a degree in liberal studies. So I can't say enough about Lindsay. She has just Saturday's wonderful Founders Day that she organized and many other events. She has done an extraordinary job, and we thank her and we congratulate you. Thank you.
Yeah, we are so blessed in this community to have people who not only work in it, but live in it as well. And she is just a model of a citizen and a worker who just cares about this community so much. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And our second graduate is our junior council person, Aiden Weeder. He graduated from North Penn High School. He has plans to go to Montgomery County Community College. And Aiden, I think that you have done such an extraordinary job this year. Full-time school, you work, you're involved you're the president of the Christian Club, and you were a junior council person. So you certainly have a full plate, but you have managed to do everything so well. And I just see a very bright future for you. So thank you for taking the challenge of being a JCP. And I know that every challenge you meet, you're going to overcome them, and I see a bright future.
Thank you.
Thanks.
for those paying close attention to our agenda, you'll notice that was not on there because we wanted to keep it as a surprise, especially for Lindsay. Yes.
I wore this color today.
Jamie, make note the next time we give something to warn them to wear nice clothes. I guess.
Well, I wouldn't have worn the color that
Or the color,
matched
excuse
my
me.
face.
Yeah, yeah.
Better.
Excuse me. Let me make sure I'm clear. Not nice. They're nice clothes, but colors that don't match your face when you're embarrassed. Yes.
No red.
No red.
No
Yeah.
red, no pink.
No. All right. So we'll get started with item 1, approval of the meeting agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for June 19, 2024 workshop and regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion from Councilman Kressler, a second from Councilman Burns. Any questions, changes, or amendments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. All right, can I get, or item 2, can I get, or we have approval of the meeting minutes from, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the May 1st, 2024 workshop and the May 15th, 2024 regular meeting?
Move.
Second?
I got a motion from Councilman Gerard, a second from Councilman Cresser. Any questions about it, changes, or amendments? If there are none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. All right, we'll go to item 3, public input. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? We would ask you to go up to the podium, make sure the microphone is on with the green light, state your name and address and the reason for addressing council tonight.
Hi, my name's Victor Lewis, 151 Orchard Lane, Hatfield. First of all, thank everybody for everything you guys do. Well, I'm still going to discuss the Arbor Grove development at 23 North Main Street. Reason why I'm saying this on top of the subject is I'm really still concerned about the traffic situation that's going to appear or occur once the development is approved. Because it was approved by zoning with some exceptions that has to be approved yet. I guess it's how that was put out by the zoning board. That new driveway after there's 18 or there's 9 homes that were built out there. Going to have 18 cars, at least 18 cars coming up and down that driveway, plus service vehicles, trash, going up and down. And it's, like I said, it's only 158 feet from the curb up to the corner of Main and 4th Street. And I know they have to do a traffic evaluation. That was one of the things that was originally requested by, I believe, the borough's engineer. And I guess my concern is the company has to do the evaluation. I just want to make sure that the evaluation is done fairly and it was done correctly by impartial traffic people. That's my concern. Because I don't want to see a real dangerous situation at that really busy intersection.
Like me to handle?
Yes, please, Madam Solicitor.
Right. After the zoning board gave approval for the use of the property, they still have to come in and apply for land development approval or subdivision approval. Okay, and the Borough Planning Commission will review it in public, and you're certainly welcome to participate there. And the Borough Council will review it in public, and you're certainly welcome to participate there. The borough employs its own engineer who checks and double checks whatever the developer's engineer says, and also has a traffic consultant that it uses when it needs one.
Okay.
So either our civil engineer, who does have some training in traffic and stuff like that, or our traffic engineer. This would be at the expense of the applicant, so we probably could use the traffic engineer. They're more expensive than the regular engineers.
I would imagine.
Yeah, but we could use them on this one, to review whatever study they do and then to critique it, say, yes, this is good, or they didn't do it on the right day of the week or whatever. At the end of the day, they're gonna have to have some way to get in and out.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so they might be able to suggest things like right turn only or something like that. And that should help, you know?
I understand that, and that's what I'm really concerned about. And of course, I make that turn a lot, a left-hand turn going on to Main Street. If I see my directions correct out here. And they said it only takes 5 seconds to make that turn and get to that spot where that driveway is going to be at. And we all know people do not drive 25 miles an hour. I would think everybody tries to,
Right.
but it's going to shorten that time period. And I just don't want to see accidents, making it dangerous intersection.
Right.
What's happening there.
Sometimes signage can help, sometimes timing lights can help, and sometimes, like I said, right turn only or, in and out
At certain times.
at certain times.
Because I live on an orchard which exits out on, East School, I believe, is that correct? East School. And get up to that intersection, you can have to make a left or right onto Main Street. And sometimes it's even hard for me, and I'm pretty far away from the corners
Right.
to make that turn. So,
It's not optimal. And if they had a wider property, a traffic engineer would probably recommend they put the driveway at the other end, but they don't.
right.
So,
Well, I just want to keep bringing this up and
great.
that it's forward in my mind. That's, I hope I'm totally completely wrong, that it's gonna be perfectly fine. But
No, it's good
right
you
now,
brought it
I
up.
don't see that.
It's good that you brought it up. That way the manager knows when we get the traffic study to send it to our traffic engineer to review.
Thank you, that's. all I'm doing.
Thank you, Vic. Appreciate it. Anybody else? All right. If there's no one else, I'll close that and we'll go to item 4, announcements.
Next Borough Council meeting is July 17th, the workshop regular meeting at 7 PM here in Council Chambers. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 24th at 6 PM here in Council Chambers. PROC is scheduled to meet Wednesday, June 26th at 8 AM here in Council Chambers. And the borough offices will be closed Thursday, July 4th in observance of the July 4th holiday.
All right. Any questions? All right. If not, we'll go to item 5, public hearing on ordinance number 553, amending Hatfield Borough's ordinance relating to the borough's defined contribution plan and revise the borough plan to revise the borough's contributions. Excuse me. Madam Solicitor?
Okay, so we'll open a hearing on this. Borough Council should be familiar with this ordinance. You looked at it once before, you suggested changes, and I made them. I advertised the revised ordinance, so I have 2 exhibits that I'd like to have mentioned in the minutes of tonight's hearing. First is Exhibit 1, which is a copy of the actual ordinance that you're going to be asked to vote on. What it does is revises contribution levels. So it makes 4% borough contribution for everybody except the manager who gets 7%, okay? What I took out was, remember we had the option of amending in the future by a resolution as opposed to an ordinance. And I took that out because enough members of Borough Council thought we should advertise when we're doing something like this. It's also retroactive to January 1 because that's part of your budget and that's what it has to be according to your pension administrator.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have those 2 exhibits. I got the ordinance, and do you want to entertain public comment first, and then or do you want to comment first?
No, we'll start with the
Sorry.
public. I'm good with that. Yep. Yep. So if anyone from the public would like to make a comment or speak, please go up to the podium and address us. Vic, do you want to say something on that? I'm just, just giving you a hard time, my friend. Okay, if there's no questions from the public, or if the public has questions while we're talking, you can still address us. Any questions from council? I'm going to take the silence as a no. I will just make one statement that we did budget for it, so it was planned and expected. So this isn't anything that we weren't prepared for. So
For the minutes should reflect the Borough Council had a public discussion of this before we advertised it.
Mhm.
And that there was no comments from the public at the hearing.
Okay.
So we can close the hearing, and it is on the agenda later this evening for a vote.
all right. We'll go to item 6, reports from the standing committees and the mayor. So Budget, Finance, and Labor Committee reports. As chairman, we did meet a week ago. We did talk through some of the numbers. Nothing of any value really to report on that unless I'm remembering incorrectly, Madam Manager.
That is correct, and we will specifically talk about the investment conversation that we had under investment reports later in the meeting.
Any questions for that lengthy report I just gave? If not, we'll go on to planning, building and zoning.
So we did not meet.
Okay. I'm gonna assume there's no questions. How about public safety?
We have not met yet, so there's nothing new to report.
Okay. Public works?
Also did not meet in this last, period, so there's no work.
All right. Utilities?
We have not met recently. I have nothing to report at this time.
7:22 p.m.
Apparently my watch has something to report. Apologies. Hurrock?
Same thing, we have not met recently. I have nothing to report, but however, I would like to bring to your attention, just this past Thursday, we lost a very important member of our committee, Don Gaiman, who was part of the community as a business owner. Unexpectedly, he passed away this past Thursday. And I would just like to take this opportunity to wish condolences to his family and his friends, and also ask for a moment of silence in memory of him who did so much and did for so long, help this community. So if you would just remember him. Thank you. That's all I have.
I'm gonna assume there's no questions. Dual action committee, we no longer have, so we'll hear from the mayor.
I had the opportunity today to meet with a potential new junior council person. He's present here now. Malachi, if you want to stand up.
Hi, Malachi.
Good.
Malachi goes to North Penn High School. And I have his resume and all information about him, and we will be discussing it at another meeting. And so, welcome, Malachi.
All right.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. You're ready to do a lot of work, my friend.
I told him to come to the meeting to see what he's getting himself into.
Yeah, yeah. In case he decides we're just a lunatic bunch up here and he doesn't want to deal with us, yeah, that's good warning. Not, okay. Lindsay, we gotta try harder.
I got Now Malachi's great. He comes into the office often. Right. We like him already.
All right, all right. Malachi, what year are you?
Going to sophomore year.
Sophomore? Okay. All right.
Next thing, the 904 recycling grant, apparently the DEP is changing how the award amount is calculated. So instead of the waste generation rate, it has been increased from 0.8 tons per person per year to 0.89 tons per person per year. So that means we're going to get less in our grant. So there's really nothing, since the DEP is saying that's how it's going to be done. That's how it's going to be done. So we'll wait and see what the size of the impact of that. And lastly, I don't know if everybody knows about the Hatfield Gotta Grow Garden Contest that's going on in the township and the borough. You can enter your garden in any of these 5 categories: general garden, curb appeal, outdoor oasis, edible garden, and pleasant porch. So if you think you might be interested, there's a information about it at hatfield.org/garden contest. So I'd like to see somebody from the borough win this. So, and that's about all I have.
So you're saying you're willing to sign up Public Works to help somebody with their garden if that's going to help them win?
They can do it before the 28th of June.
It also sounds like we need to encourage our residents to recycle more to compensate for the difference.
Oh, well, yeah, we always said that. We need to recycle more. Now, I was very happy to see at Founder's Day, the separate trash, and right next to it, the recycling day. So I was happy to see that. So oftentimes there's just the recycling here and the regular one there, and they go to the wrong one, they're just gonna throw their trash in the recycle. So I was glad to see that. Good job, Steve.
All right, any questions for the mayor? All right. All right, if not, we'll go to our reports and correspondence, monthly investment.
The monthly investment report was included in your packets. Wanted to highlight a conversation that Budget, Finance, and Labor had at our meeting last Thursday. So just to give you some background, Hatfield Borough had a principal payment that was due for our building. Our principal payment in 2024 jumped from $124,000 to $495,000. Though these was budgeted, it's budgeted over a 12-year period, and this payment was due in May, and we did not have the funds currently to cover our principal payment. So taking a step back, just to give you some idea what we've paid thus far. So real estate taxes for 2024, current year to date, we've only collected $280,000 of the $413,000 for real estate taxes. Real estate transfer tax, we collected $18,000 of the $50,000 that we have budgeted. We were down in May, roughly $30,000 year to date from where we were in 2023. For EIT tax, we're roughly down $2,000 to where we were in 2023 for LST tax. Our electric collection, which we know supplements our general fund, from 2023 to 2024 year to date was roughly down $6,800. And we had those very large payments to HTMA for our sewer treatment, and the one that we were not expecting. Those totaled year to date thus far are $453,000 in payments that we've had to pay at the beginning of 2024. So though we had in our 2024 budget $500,000 to cover our principal payments, we just didn't have it in May to cover that and the bills on our bill list. So we need to borrow money from our investments. Hatfield Borough has borrowed money from their investments before, but we had made a commitment as being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars and our funds that we would pay ourselves back at 4%. That's what we've done in the past. It's reflected in our budget on a line item. We pay roughly $99,000 a year back towards investments that we borrowed from to do the AMI system. Is one time we borrowed from investments. So after gathering the information, Hatfield Borough made the authorization to take $250,000 from the cap reserve, which would leave us at $164,877 in that account. We took $250,000 from the sewer cap reserve, which would leave us with $523,000 and change in that account to total $500,000. $500,000, I'm sorry. To make that principal payment for our building. We did not take either of those two funds or neither of the funds that we currently have bonds or T-bills in. We left those alone. We simply sold some Ginnie Mae funds that we had in those accounts to gather the $500,000 to make this principal payment. The discussion that we had during Budget, Finance, and Labor last week was, do you want to pay yourselves back? It's your money. You can choose what you want to do. Do you want to continue the practice that we have in the past where we borrow our money from investments and being good stewards, we pay ourselves back at 4% or the market value, kind of what we've done, or do you not want to pay yourselves back? Budget, Finance, and Labor had talked and decided that they would like to continue the practice of paying ourselves back. We borrowed the money. We'd like to continue that practice and see what that looks like over the next 5 years. So currently, the money that we borrowed from investments, the payment is roughly, you'll see it on the bill list every month, it's roughly $8,500. Instead of that ending in September of 2025, that will just continue through 2027 or 2028, how that amortization schedule would show. How Budget, Finance, and Labor would like to be transparent about this is have a resolution that makes a commitment at a public meeting that we will pay these funds back to our investments. And we were going to ask the solicitor to prepare a similar resolution that she did for the AMI system. When we borrowed $400,000 for the AMI, the solicitor prepared a resolution that was just in good faith that Hatfield Borough will pay the money back for investments. So it's there in case these things happen again. a question was asked during the budget, finance and labor, I believe by Vice President Gerard. If we had more money, could we pay it back earlier? We certainly could. If we looked at the budget at the end of this year and we had $100,000, we certainly could put $100,000 this year on it. We just didn't want to make that commitment if we didn't have those funds come in. So that's kind of where we are at in investments. Open for a discussion, answer any questions. President Ferguson and Vice President Gerard were at the meeting. If you want to chime in, if I missed anything, kind of just where we are today and how we want to pay ourselves back.
Just have one additional question. You said our tax collection revenue was down. Is this just like a timing difference that you can see, or is this something that we have to be concerned about going forward?
It's just all depends on when people pay. If people pay in discount or they pay in face. So I think it should be something that we should be conscious of in the future, that if we're going to have a principal payment due in May, which jumped significantly over the past year, we can't control when people pay their taxes. So maybe it's just something we have to be a little bit more conscious of. And I think maybe highlighting that in our 5-year roadmap of just bringing it to the attention of us when we're working through the budget season. We certainly have a balanced budget at the end of the year. We have excess funds. It's just when those funds are available, we can't, determine when we will get a transfer tax or where we are in EIT or LST or when people choose to pay their real estate taxes. It's just who pays in discount and who doesn't. And the principal payment was in May. If the principal payment was in maybe September, I don't know that we'd be having the same conversation.
So this was a cash flow issue?
Yes, it was just the amount of cash that we had in our accounts.
Okay.
We looked at money we had elsewhere, like we have money at Harleysville. Could we have borrowed for a little bit? Could we have done that? We didn't feel comfortable cutting ourselves short and leaving $10,000 in our general fund.
The electric thing being low, is there any issue that we see on that?
It wasn't significantly low. I mean, it was $6,800.
Right.
It really just depends on how your winter is. If you have a colder winter and you're generating more electric, then you're generating more revenue because bills are higher. And we were looking at, disconnects speaking of that, disconnects are happening again in June. They just couldn't happen this week so we're looking at those things as well. Is there more delinquency than there was last year? We really didn't see that.
Okay.
Kind of thought maybe it was just how the winter was and how much electric we were generating and, what we were charging.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, since it was a warmer winter, that would have an impact, but it's also supposed to be a hotter summer. So,
Right.
so numbers will probably
Hopefully pick up.
increase. Yeah.
Well.
That's typically what we've seen.
There used to be something that a lot of municipalities did called a tax anticipation note. And the good news here is tax anticipation note was because you have payments that are due before the taxes come in, you would borrow from a bank.
Right.
And pay them interest. And then when your money came in, you'd pay off the principal. So effectively, what the committee is recommending is a tax anticipation note,
Right.
but you're paying.
But it's our own
from
fund.
yourself and you're paying yourself
We're
back.
not paying
So
a bank
it's
interest.
pretty good,
Mhm.
right? Instead of a bank, you're gonna get that interest back. So it's a pretty good way to do it if you have to.
Why did the payment on the building, it was significantly higher than we expected?
No, it's
Okay,
just
okay.
how the amortization schedule
Okay.
worked out. It was just how, your first 5 years are at X amount of dollars, then you have a huge jump for the next 10 years, and then you'll go down for the last
Right.
5 years.
Okay.
It's just how the schedule worked out. And it jumped from last year to this year. But just saying,
It wasn't a surprise.
correct. It was
Okay.
not a surprise. That's why the funds were budgeted. It just, wrong time of make a big payment in May when you've paid $453,000 for sewer treatment. Yeah, I think the 163 of that was not anticipated.
Were we all impacted by that bridge payment from the state? Did that come into play in any of this?
So the bridge payment from the state was for debt borrowing.
Okay,
That would take down our interest and principal payments, but not specifically for the building. So yes, if they did go
I mean,
down,
overall.
yes. So our payments will go down. not significantly as much as you think. You think $1 million and it'll go down a
Right.
lot. Yes, it will just be blended out over a longer period of time. Yeah.
And I guess, so where my question is going is, did that cause us a cash flow issue? Because the state didn't get us our money.
No, no, I think it was just more honestly timing of how many people played in discount versus how many people didn't, and that the payment was due in May. Like I stated, I think if this was a August, September payment, I think we would be fine.
Okay.
So we'll keep reporting out on it and keep everyone up to date. So that won't be an issue.
And I believe the solicitor will prepare a resolution for the July meeting, and it'll be on for consideration as an action item, as just being transparent and doing that at a public meeting, that you're making a commitment to pay the money that you borrowed from yourself back. And it'll probably be similar, 4%, maybe over 5 years, but you certainly can pay that back, and a caveat probably, or we can make payments. It'll be nothing less than that. We can certainly pay more than that.
And just to add on to that, I mean, that was something we said we wanted to be transparent. So we wanted to go through the same process we went through before. So to keep that transparency for the public. So. All right. Thank you, Madam Manager. It was pretty long. Any other questions?
I gave her the resolution that we did before,
Okay.
so she can mirror it off of that, and I will provide her with the correct bank accounts or, and all that information.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, this is a good segue into our monthly EIT and LST.
The monthly EIT and LST report was in your packets. I will just highlight the end of May because I don't want to go to June because we're only halfway through the month. So at the end of May, we were up and 2024, $264,000 versus 2023, 245 for EIT. And moving on to LST. In 2024, year to date at the end of May, 12,739, and in 2023, we're at 11,844. So they do seem to be trending up. I know I reported last month, kind of fell off a little bit. Now we're getting back up to where we budgeted.
So in hindsight, you're not worried.
No, not worried. Today.
All right, any questions? If not, we'll go to the monthly zoning and hearing board.
There are no new monthly zoning hearing board applications included in the packet.
All right. Do we have anything from Steve Barth?
There was nothing included in your packet from Steve Barr.
How about the police department report?
The police department report was included in your packets. Lieutenant Graham could not be here this evening. If you have any questions, he said, let me know. I'd be happy to ask him. We'll report back. I did talk to him, the mayor and the committee members. I would like to have a public safety meeting in July. We're just waiting. They're currently, looks like they're still doing a speed study on Coffle Road. If you go out Vine Street to Coffle, the signs are still there. So just waiting for that to come down and get those results, and then we'll have a public safety meeting.
And remind me, was that at our request or the township's?
It was at a request of a resident that lives on Vine and Coffle. He had said that he experienced what he calls drag racing occurring in like the nighttime hours.
Okay,
So, Lieutenant Graham said that he would put a speed study up for right around that area.
Okay.
We'll also get some information from Coffle in the township area, but the resident stated it seemed like it came from our villa down, and they were doing turns in the trailer park area right outside the borough boundaries. So they have been doing selective enforcement and the speed study.
okay.
Jamie, have we gotten any new information about when construction is going to begin on the new police station?
I have not received any new information. Outside of when we had the groundbreaking was the last that I had any updates, but I can ask and follow up.
A business over in the shopping center over there has told me they've seen activity over there from time to time. So sounds like something's going. They got some work.
I saw they put, or PP&L put a utility pole out front.
Yeah.
That's 3 of them, Steve says. So I've noticed that, but I haven't noticed anything else going on.
It wasn't hard to miss the first one because they dug out that whole piece of ground right there, so. All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll go on to fire.
The fire report was included in your packets. If you have any questions, Butch is here and be happy to answer anything for you.
42 calls this month. And we're hoping that things stay quiet for the next few days, being so hot. We already had one member last night, taken to Grandview by a PMC for heat-related issues. Hoping to avoid any more of that.
Is there anything you guys need for your team because of the heat issues? More Gatorade, more, I don't know.
I mean, water always helps.
Yeah, okay.
But, otherwise, you gotta remember to drink it, that's all.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Butch. EMS?
The EMS report was located in your packets. Similar to the months before, roughly hover around less than or 1% of calls for the total VMSC calls for the month of 1,026. We had 8 in our zone, and Falls continue to be Hatfield Borough's top call response. I like that Chief's doing something a little bit different. You see a little bit there, a couple months goes by and then you see another thing come up for the report, a little bit different. So I like that.
I noticed in their bill list that there was $7,500 to the MSA. Is that half of our commitment that we made to them?
Yes, that is half of our commitment. Half will go in June and then the other half will go October, November.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, if not, Public Works?
There's nothing major to add to this, a month and a half late, kind of, but, the electric has all been installed and finalized at Bennett's Court. All the units are under power, street lights, everything is working inside there. Just to note that the dedication has not happened inside there yet, but everybody is powered up. And we did have, I know Jamie said you guys have talked about this before, but the old backhoe did sell on municipal bid, 27,700. That's, we budgeted 2,500 in the budget to receive this revenue. So always a bonus when we get more than what we budgeted.
And you've already saved us money with the new one on a couple of projects, right? It was 2 projects?
2 projects
Okay.
so far. One unexpected and one planned.
Okay. You guys are gonna give me a total on that at the end of the year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
At budget time.
Yeah.
Hold your breath.
Steve knows that was part of the criteria for getting it, is that, hey, and it was a very smart move, right? Because if we're gonna save money, it pays for itself, so. Trying to be good stewards. All right, engineering report.
Engineering report was included in your packets. I will highlight the subdivision and land development section. Bennett's Courts used to be Prestige Building Partners. Construction's ongoing and buildings are being constructed. They're actually looking to get some of their finals taken care of. So if you drive back off of Maple Avenue, houses are up, looking to get the finals. So we should start to be seeing some escrow requests come in for release of their funds. Dinnan's Greenhouses, land development, nothing new. March 25th, the Planning Commission voted to recommend preliminary approval with certain conditions. They have not come back. They have to go to zoning for some relief on their floodplain, but haven't submitted that application yet. 43 Roosevelt, on June 3rd, they issued their final letter indicating that the previous engineering commitments have been made satisfactory. I know our solicitors working with their lawyer on a developer's agreement. Steve did for that developer, like some pole work up the street, but we're just kind of waiting to hear back once the developer's agreement gets the
In your mailbox tomorrow morning.
we'll be
There you go.
moving forward with that project.
Is there anything unique on that that we need to think about?
Yeah, the only unique thing is that the stormwater management is on all 4 lots. There's a pipe that runs across all of them. So usually you have, like at Bennett's Court, you have like a homeowners association.
Mhm.
So if they don't take care of their basin, we go to the homeowners association and say, hey, fix the basin or we'll fix it and charge you. So on this one, we've had this before, the Caracaza development, over Cobble, right?
That's
That
fine,
same
yeah.
thing.
That's
So
fine.
we're gonna have to record a stormwater management agreement against each lot. Here's the problem with that. Nobody ever reads them. You know, so, we're just gonna have to periodically take a look and make sure it's still working, or they'll notice it. It's 2 twins, 4 units on a less than a whole acre.
Mhm.
And so that's the only unusual thing is that the stormwater is going to go across all 4 lots. And so each owner is going to be responsible for his or her part of it. So let's hope they take care of it.
Mm.
And then it'll be recorded. So if they don't take care of it, the borough will be able to, say to them, hey, fix it or we will. But usually we won't notice that. They won't notice that till somebody's
So it's a
basement
major
gets
problem.
flooded,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's unusual, but I mean, I think in a borough, there's not a whole lot you can do. The spaces are smaller and you're fitting the things in, so.
Okay.
And lastly, on Chad's report, I wanted to highlight the Hatfield Township, the Hatfield Borough, the joint stormwater study. I believe I mentioned this last meeting. We were gonna have a meeting. We held the meeting in May, and we're working through our list. Hatfield Borough is gonna provide a list of the top 5 places that we believe are stormwater issues in the borough where we see some flooding. Hatfield Township is also providing a top 5 list. We're getting those lists together. We're mapping those out, and then we're taking the next steps to see what projects, how we can collaborate together to do a feasibility study to see what needs to be done at each location. I believe just because we have 5 and they have 5, I would say we'll go with 3 and they'll go with 3. Like, I think it'll be dwindled down. A lot of our projects revolve around the Stephanie Court, Talmenton area, behind the Hatfield Borough office, and the core commercial district in the downtown, which encompasses, if you want to go all the way up from North Main, East School, Forest, down Diamond area, Cherry Street, which goes under Hanson Building, down to the trolley stop core commercial area, which in all sense comes out to behind the Borough building. So that's kind of like the bigger area where that all connects. And then we do know that there's some issues on Talmenton and Stephanie with flooding, and we did a culvert, maybe 10 years ago, if that might have been less than that. So those are kind of the focus areas right now that we're working on. Once we map those out and talk about them, we'll be taking the next steps. I believe our next meeting is mid-July. So Steve and I attend those meetings with the engineer.
Any questions? All right. How about zoning officer?
Zoning officer's report was in your packet. Nothing significantly outstanding, just the notice of violations that are listed, most of them have been addressed. So I know there were some site issues at Edgewood and Talmenton. Those have been taken care of. A lot of high grass, those have been taken care of. So he has been going out and, once he's in on Tuesdays or Thursdays, have been issuing, the door hangers have been seemed to be very productive. Just a door hanger to get people to take care of their grass, their weeds, their vegetation. So he has been taking care of that.
Okay. Any questions? If not, we'll go on the fire marshal.
Fire marshal's report was in your packet. Just want to highlight year to date for the fire inspections, roughly 41% complete.
Any questions? If not, we'll go to pool advisory.
There was no pool advisory report in the packet this month.
Is Miss Tate going to be the representative?
So we still have,
Still as well?
we still have Miss Farrell, Miss Baker, and then Mr. Sweet. And when their terms come up, if we'll talk about that, or if they are attending, I had asked that, you have to be active in attending the meetings to be on the committee. Another resident also reached out from East School Street and is interested in being on the committee as well.
Okay.
So we do have some interest.
Okay.
So we'll see how that pans out.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I thought someone was stepping out, so.
Oh, I think we had talked about that. Miss Farrell, Miss Baker continued to go all the time, was not sure about Mr. Sweet, said that he would continue to go to the meeting, so I will follow up.
Okay.
But I know Miss Tate had expressed interest.
Yeah. All right, any questions on pool advisor or any of the other reports? All right, if not, we'll go on to the manager's report.
Just highlight a few things under utility billing. Shutoffs are scheduled for June for both utilities. We did have sewer shutoffs last week or the week before. Electric shutoffs were scheduled for this week. We did not shut electric off this week just due to the heat and the conditions that we are facing, as we do not shut anyone off during code red or if there are heat advisory warnings. So electric shutoffs are postponed. Looking to do them next week. Can't guarantee that we can do them next week. It all depends on the heat and where we're at. If we cannot, we'll continue to look for a day or we'll have to push them back to the beginning of fall. So those are just our policies.
How was the response with sewer when you had the shutoffs?
Everybody came in and paid except one property, and we believe that property to be abandoned.
Okay.
So everybody came in and paid,
Okay.
and there maybe were 10 on the list.
Okay. Okay.
Currently, right now, we have 45 scheduled for shut off for electric.
Okay. Do you know what the dollar amount we're behind on is for those 45? Just a rough number?
Last time David let me know, not including some of the significant bills that we have, was roughly between 15 and 20,000.
Okay.
That does not include significant outliers.
Okay. All right, apologies, continue.
Also wanted to highlight the public information officer report that was in your packet. Just say how great Founder's Day was. I know it was really good turnout, reminded me a lot of the 125 that we had last year. Great to have an event on a Saturday, positive things. So kudos to Lindsay and her team for doing everything that they did to make a successful event. And her report is in your packets. And just a few items of interest. The PMEA conference information is in your packet. That's September 4th through 6th. If anyone's interested in attending PMEA this year, let us know. We'll register you. You can see the agenda. And also the Montgomery County released the school district tax assessment. So for Hatfield Borough, we're at 138 million. You can see it would be on the second page. And last year we were 137 and change. So similar to last year, did not significantly increase. Any questions for me or anything on my report?
No, I just want to say thank you to Lindsay and Steve for all the work you guys put out on that.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well done. All right. If there are no questions, we'll go to item 9, new business and discussion items. We'll start with item A, the 2024 roadway resurfacing project.
A bid opening was held on May 16th for the 2024 roadway resurfacing project. The lowest responsible bidder was James D. Morrissey in the amount of $130,351. It is a recommendation from our engineer to award this bid this evening. And just highlighting in the budget, we budgeted this to come out of the liquid fuels account, which is 439,600 for 158,500 is what our budget projection was, and the bids came in at 130,351. Looking to award this evening and then start this project later this summer, with a time of completion before school starts in September.
And Chad had no issues with the company that came in with the lowest bid?
He did not.
They're pretty experienced. They've got JDM, they used to go by.
Okay,
And they've been around for a while. They did the stretch in 202 from like Whip Pain to 63 and stuff like that. They've been around.
okay.
More
They have done-
locally,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Jamie,
No, I was gonna say, they have done work for the borough in the past, the roads.
more locally, it's been, the last job they did for us was Blaine, South Wayne and North Wayne Avenue,
Was that under the same name or was it a different?
same name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously
We had
you,
one
you would
question about
recommend
their
it too.
Insurance, that was it, and we answered it.
Okay. All right. All right. Any questions? All right, if not, we'll go to item B, resolution 2024-13, adopting the contractor's integrity requirements.
Yeah, this actually is related to the roadway project because we got some grants to do roadway work.
The
And-
utility replacement project,
Which one?
the big utility replacement project.
Utility replacement project, okay, but in any event, and we've already bid it with these things in it, so, what these are is, if you get federal or state money, they want to make sure that you're requiring your contractors to abide by the no discrimination laws, which we do anyway, you know, but, Chad thought that we should have a policy saying this. So as it turns out, it's in our employee handbook so that we do all these things for our employees, but we didn't have like an actual policy that said, you know, you don't discriminate on this, don't discriminate on that. Now, the only thing I would say in rereading this for tonight's meeting, it's a little redundant, but I was sort of taking pieces out of the state policy, out of the employee handbook, and then out of the federal policy. I think I got it all in there, is all I'm saying. It's just odd, that's that, like, one of the policies talked about, they all talked about sexual harassment, so that's in there 3 times, okay? That might be a little much, but it's in there. And then one of them talked about, they all talked about sex discrimination, one talked about gender discrimination, and the other talked about national origin, but they weren't in the same policy, so I just threw them all in there. We're not discriminating on any basis, okay? That's basically what this is. So what it says is, this is how we Hatfield Borough think about these things, and we want all of our contractors and your subcontractors to follow. This is our official policy, no discrimination.
Was there something that brought this up?
Yeah, there was a grant that we got
Oh, okay, okay.
that says we have to require
Yep.
this.
Correct, so because we got the utility replacement project out on Broad and North
Right.
Main, we received state funds for that, but we also received federal ARPA funds for that, and this is a requirement for us to adopt before we can receive any reimbursement from those grants.
So we only have to do this one, if we do it, do this now, we get another grant, we don't have to do it.
Right,
It'll be a resolution, so it'll be,
because we hereby adopt the following integrity requirements for contractors and subcontractors of any kind for any project.
Perfect,
And then Chad already stuck these in his bidding,
right.
and he'll, but for the future, he'll put this in the bidding too, you know, so that everybody follows it.
Is this something that's going to need to be revisited, say, every 5 years or so to bring it up to date?
If the federal and state rules change with respect to discrimination, yeah,
Will they let us know that?
yes.
Okay.
You'll know it, you'll hear about it, and, I mean, most everything's covered, I think, but yeah, it's possible that something that we haven't even discussed or thought of would be, a problem for the federal or state government, and they would pass some law. The Pennsylvania Human Relations Act generally defines this, that in the federal, it's the civil rights laws, and there are specific laws too, there are civil rights laws. So yes, they could always amend them and then we'd have to fix it, but in general.
But not
these are
until
all
that
things
point.
that are not controversial for you anyway, so.
Right.
It's not like you're out there looking for somebody who wants to discriminate on the basis of, you know, any of these things,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
I will add that it's on for consideration as an action item this evening. If council is not comfortable adopting it, you certainly can table it to the following meeting in July. Again, we just can't receive any grant reimbursements until we adopt it, but the project is just currently out to bid, so.
Okay,
So
so
we
there's
have
no hurry to do
Correct.
it. right?
If there was something you wanted to
Okay.
change or talk about, it's up to you guys. and gals.
Any thoughts, questions? Part of my thought would be is I'd rather table it to the next meeting, just to read it through one more time, so, if that's okay, unless council feels like we want to do it tonight.
Won't impact that project, right?
It will not impact the project, just because we'll go over the timeline later in the meeting, but it'll be fine if you adopt it in July, because there won't be any grant reimbursements that we would have submitted by then.
Just want to be careful of that because
Correct, yes.
this project keeps getting
Oh, yeah, yeah. no,
moved, yeah.
no.
So let's not do that.
When would those reimbursements start? Sometime in the fall?
Yes, so per the tentative schedule, the project is supposed to start in the fall. So it would be once we would have to, the contractor would want some work done, we would pay them, and then we'd be looking for reimbursements. I believe these grants are going to be a little bit different than they have been in the past, as it's not a giant reimbursement at the end of the entire project. CFA will award you partial reimbursements throughout your project, so you're not out the entire 2.9 or $3 million upfront, and then you're
Right.
waiting and waiting like we had been from the state for over a year, almost 2 years to get reimbursed, and we're carrying that money for a longer period of time.
If we're not comfortable tabling, I'm fine if we want to vote on it tonight, but my request would be to table.
Yeah, I mean,
For a month.
I would say.
you're good with it, right, Kate?
I'm fine with it, although if you do table it, I'm probably gonna edit some of the language, not to change any of the
Mhm,
concepts,
mhm.
but I think I mentioned
Just clean it up. a
unwanted
bit.
sexual advances 3 times. I think we could probably get away with that. You know what I mean?
So you-
So I would
Didn't they
edit it a
show-
little bit and clean it down. I just didn't want to miss anything
Yeah.
when I was writing it, and now that I look at it,
Maybe clean it up a
See, the
little bit.
secret's out. I was trying to help Kate's reputation
Right,
by,
yeah.
so I didn't want to say that in a public meeting, but.
now the truth is, when you edit something, it's always better, so.
Yeah, yeah.
But the truth is also that Chad already put all this
Right.
in the bids, you know, and he repeated them.
So
Yeah.
does that help us then? Does that help us that it's actually in the bid?
Yes,
For
so,
getting our
yes.
grant money?
Yeah, so Chad had talked to, representative from DCED and worked everything out and actually provided them the entire bid package and what would they like to see? Is this okay?
Okay.
And he included these things in it as like a good faith effort that they are part of that, and this certainly will be an amendment to anything,
Okay.
and we will use it moving forward in all bid packages, yes.
Yeah,
But they did see like that we were working on something. They know they have copies of our handbook and those things that we already have in place.
Right. It is all in the handbook, but the
Mhm.
handbook technically only applies to our employees, doesn't apply to contractors and stuff.
Right, right. Okay. If there are no questions, we'll go to item C, the Montgomery County Planning Commission Planning Assistance Contract.
As part of the revitalization initiative, Hatfield Borough is looking to partner with Montgomery County Planning Commission to work on a comprehensive plan, which would include zoning updates. This is a contract to allow us to essentially hire them as a planning partner. As you can see in the contract, Kate reviewed it. It's very standard, very typical contract, and we wouldn't have to pay anything to the Montgomery County Planning Commission till 2025. So they would waive the payment for this year, add it to 2025. And so we could budget for it, but we would start working with the Montgomery County Planning Commission in September of this year. And starting to work with them would be adopting this contract and then working on a subcommittee as part of working with them. So there will be one monthly meeting, required monthly meeting. Who we look to serve on this committee is one elected official, one member from the Planning Commission, one member from HUROC, and then some community members. So I'm working out the details with the Montgomery County Planning Commission to give me some recommendations on qualifications for that committee. As they said, people should have like building and zoning experience. Somebody should be a renter. Someone should be from different minority or majority groups in your borough, a business owner. And we will meet once a month and they will report back as part of the process. We certainly will work with, outside of that, the Planning, Building and Zoning Committee and Planning Commission and Borough Council. This subcommittee will just kind of it helps you talk about what you want for your future of the borough too. That's why it has to be a more diverse group of individuals. So this is just a contract. Kate reviewed it.
I did. It's a standard contract. And the other thing is I actually served on the County Planning Commission for a while, so I'm very familiar with their staff. They're excellent. And I also think it will help us because, it used to be you'd have a zoning officer who knew your your ordinance by heart. And we don't have that anymore. Most places don't have that anymore.
Right.
But they'll give you a planner whose job it is to know your zoning ordinance and to be able to say, well, if this were, we could amend this section to make it that, or we could do that with your downtown, your center zoning. And I think that it's helpful if you have somebody who's got that. Now, they're still going to review everything because each applicant pays a fee to have the Montgomery County Planning Commission review it. Do you get that? But I think it's different when you have somebody who's sort of your assigned planner. It's expensive, but I think it's worth it. So.
And we do have an assigned planner that will be working with us. His name is Tim. He's an experienced planner. He's also an assigned planner for Lansdale Borough. So he's familiar with boroughs, familiar with more communities that are built up and would have to probably look at acquiring properties or tearing down properties, changing zoning, maybe from if there's an industrial use today, but council or anyone that serves on the committee sees that as commercial on the bottom and apartments on the top in the long-term future. He's familiar with what that would look like to go through zoning and would recommend zoning, like to look at our future as well. We'll also be making changes to the zoning map, those type of things. Kind of some things we've been working on. I believe I reported at a previous meeting, the two representatives from the Planning Commission, Tim and Eric, who is kind of the head of, they're like this idea of working on contracts. They came, we toured toured Hatfield Borough probably might have been out there for 5 hours one afternoon, met businesses, walked in, got a good feel of the borough, and then provided us with this contract to start in September.
Would Steve Barth be involved, or would he be part of this at all too? Or-
He would be. So myself and Steve would not be accounted in the total of, they
Total
said
group, right?
roughly 5 to 7 members
Okay.
is what the committee looks like, just based on your municipality's population. But Steve and I would also attend those meetings.
Okay.
This contract's on for consideration as an action item this evening, if you're comfortable adopting it and moving forward, working with the Montgomery County Planning Commission.
We've been talking about it for a while, but I don't remember seeing the numbers before. Is that correct?
Correct, they just provide them. It's
Okay.
estimated, I believe in the past, this was the first year we didn't budget for it. So in the past, we budgeted $12,000 a year, I think for the past 2 or 3 years to work with them. We were on a waiting list,
Yeah.
kind of didn't have any openings.
Yep.
And then Steve came on board, reached out again. They're like, oh, we could do a half-year contract with them. And then they said, oh, and won't charge you till 2025. We're like, all right. And when we looked at it, I believe the $11,250 is like the first year total. It goes to $11,370 for year 2 and $11,490. So we were roughly budgeted correctly at the 12 grand a
12, yeah.
year. Mhm.
Okay. Is everyone okay with making a decision on tonight, or do you guys want to table that?
No problem.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay. All right. Thought I'd ask since we're in a tabling mood tonight. So. All right, if there are no more questions, we'll go to item D, utility replacement project, tentative schedule and bid advertisement.
Wanted to include this in your packets as it was a great week for Hatfield Borough as the project is out to bid. So we're moving forward. I believe it went live on the 10th. And we're going to have a pre-bid meeting on the 26th here at 2 p.m. with us, anyone interested in bidding on the project, and North Penn Water Authority. And then we're looking to open the bids on July 10th and award at the next meeting in July. So looks like the project's moving forward. Though this is just a tentative schedule, it says construction will begin September in the fall.
Any questions? All right, if not, we'll go to item E, the JCP Junior Council Person Project Presentation. Aiden, you're up.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Great day today, very hot out. I'm glad that we could all make it here. I don't really have a long, presentation, but, as the JCP, I decided that we should do a food drive, with the, food bank. I've worked with them, I volunteered with them many times, so have my brothers, great people. They do great work down there. And I believe that we should help the community best we can, by of course giving to the community. So on August 3rd and 10th, 9 to noon, that will be the days for people to drop off food here. Or any of the needs on this list, of course, any uninspired items we will happily take. And for every contributor, they can enter a raffle for a $50 Visa gift card. And we'll also have, donuts there too, as a little, treat to people who stop by. And this, of course, is in your, packets, but somewhere in this room, I believe over there, there are some flyers that you can collect before you leave. Thank you.
Aiden, question for you. So does this affect, or does this support the local food pantries as well? And which ones?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Which one? You know which one.
Yeah, Emmanuel, Church.
Emmanuel's? Okay, okay. All right, okay. All right. All right. And everything will be posted on social media?
Yeah.
Okay,
After you guys are okay with it, then we can put it up. I didn't want to put it up before you guys.
yeah. No, I don't have any issue with it, so, yeah.
And can I just add, he did actually contact Janet Haig, and that was the list of most needed things there. She said, of course, we'll always take everything, but that list came specifically from Emmanuel, who he is collecting for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aiden.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Any questions? If not, we'll go on to old business, item 10.
I don't have any old business.
Oh, wow. I wonder why I was blank.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna surprise us.
next meeting, there'll be some old business.
Okay. Are you gonna surprise us, or are you gonna have a deep, no?
Contractor integrity. They
Yeah,
could be
it'll
old
be
business.
old.
That's true.
The new and improved.
The new and improved. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll go to item 11, our action items. So for those who are new, this is where all the fun begins, so. All right, we'll go with item A, motion to consider ordinance number 553, amending Hatfield Borough ordinance relating to the borough's defined contribution plan to the revised borough contributions. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Cresser, second from Councilman Gerard. Any other questions, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. Item B, motion to consider awarding the 2024 roadway resurfacing project to James D. Morrissey Incorporated in the amount of $130,351.
Make a motion?
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Burns, a second from Councilman Cresser. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. Item C, we're going to table to next week, or excuse me, next month. We'll go to item D, motion to consider the Montgomery County Planning Commission Planning Assistance Contract effective September 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027.
Motion?
Second.
A motion from Councilman Burns, a second from Councilman Gerard. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. All right, we'll go to item 12, a motion to approve payment of the bills. Can I get a motion?
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, The Quick Lot LLC painting on state roads, 13,000. Because it's state roads, will we be reimbursed for that, or is that something we have to pay?
So we take care of, line painting on the state roads, and no, they will not reimburse us for that. We do get some money back from the state for like plowing and maintenance and that type of thing, but no, they won't reimburse us specifically the 13,000. We do, we used to do a lot of stuff in-house, but just due to the safety aspect of it, we started outsourcing on state roads, because it kind of became more of a requirement from our insurance provider. After there was a horrible accident in Franconia 4, maybe 5 years ago now, and two of their public works were injured. So now we contract that out just for flagging and safety purposes.
Okay, I was just wondering. Thank you.
And we don't typically spend, if I remember the numbers right, we spend maybe 5 to 15, depending upon how much activity we're doing a year. It's not a lot.
We budget 15, I think, every year,
Mhm.
and I try to do my best to keep it, as under that number as I can.
Yeah, okay. Good question, Madam Mayor. Any other questions? All right, then I will open the floor to motions to approve the bills.
Move.
Second.
I got a motion from Councilman Gerard, second from Councilman Burns. Any additional questions? If not, all in favor? Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. All right, I believe we're going to have an executive session to talk about real estate, litigation, and personal matters. So can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. We are adjourned. Thank